Hello everyone, I'm back and keeping up with my promise to keep you better updated. Let me show you what I did yesterday. So if you looked at my video, I had all of this front end painted black. I just threw on some gloss black rattle can just to see what it looked like. My goal was to make sure that that area right there looked like I wanted it to. A lot of people said, oh, you just created a huge amount of work getting that black paint off. All right, so just to see, I turned on my sander and hit this for maybe 5 minutes, and you can see that, I mean, that's what came off in 5 minutes. I wasn't even trying, and unfortunately my sander died, so that's all I could do. But what's it gonna take, another 5-10 minutes to sand the rest of that off? Don't think that's a big deal. Maybe it is to them, but it's sure not to me. Anyway, that's where I'm at, but today I'm switching gears. I'm behind on the C2 Grand Sport project, so I've got to get going on it. Let me show you where I left off. And where I left off was, we'll start with the side that I haven't done yet. All right, so if you look at this, if you're familiar with how this works, you make a mold, you put gel coat in there, and then you put fiberglass behind the gel coat. Ideally, the fiberglass will make full contact with the gel coat and everything will be great. In this case, what they did was they used a multi-piece mold, and you can tell because of this 90-degree bend here and the fact that there's flashing, which is this stuff that sticks out further than it's supposed to, there must have been a separate piece that bolted here. And what they did was, a lot of times people will put wax or clay or something along this edge to keep this from happening. What they did was they didn't do that, and so what happened is the gel coat went down into the seam in between the two mold pieces. So it creates this sharp edge with a bunch of, like you said, flashing right here. So what I did on the other side was I said, oh, well, I'll just sand off this flashing and everything will be fine. Well, that wasn't exactly true. If you come over here and look, when I sanded the 90-degree flashing off, I found out that there was no fiberglass behind the gel coat on these sharp corners. So this whole edge right here, there was an air pocket behind there. So when I sanded the gel coat to get it to look nice, it completely knocked off the edge. Then I said, well, I'll just go ahead and round it a little bit. Well, when I did, it's rounded, but it gets too wide there. Anyway, it's very inconsistent and it's just not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this back in. What I'm going to do is get a piece of cardboard, cover it with aluminum tape, wax that so that the fiberglass doesn't stick. Then I'm going to put it along this edge, ideally so it's dead even with this surface right here. Then I'll come in and I've got a fiberglass reinforced body filler, and I will fill in this dip right here all the way around. When that cures, I can take my sander, sand it this way, sand it that way, and I'll be back to that 90-degree angle. Whether I'll keep that or not, I haven't decided. Part of me thinks I should round it off, but most of the Grand Sport replicas I've seen have this as a 90-degree edge, so I may round it off a little bit. So if we come back over here, we can see here's a bad case. Whoops, okay, right there. See, that's flashing right there. That shouldn't be there. So that basically were sloppy when they made it. But if you look at this, all of these edges are rough. So obviously that can't stay. I'm afraid when I sand it, I'm going to run into the same thing I did over there, that there's an air pocket underneath here. It's really, really hard to get a 90-degree, which is why I might round it out, because it's not a good practice to do. And you can see here, there's another big flashing piece right there. And you can also see that that doesn't look real good there. So there could be an air pocket there. You can see there was obviously an air pocket here, there, something going on there, along here. You can see that right there is a, so as many air pockets as I can see, there's probably more that I can't see. I'll know more as I hit this. I'm gonna do the same thing, hit this with a sander, clean up this edge, clean up that edge, and then people suggested running something like a wrench, box-in wrench along here, and if it breaks when I run the box end wrench, then that means there was an air pocket underneath it. So I'm going to have to at least fix part of it. So if I'm going to fix part of it, I might as well fix it all. The only question I have is then what kind of radius do I want on this if I don't want it at a 90 degree. So I will decide that later. The first thing is just build it up to 90 degrees and go from there. So my goal today is to get these two fixed, two edges fixed, and then start. There's all kinds of, I mean, if you look over here, there's all kinds of defects in this thing. So again, my goal is to get this thing ready to where it's smooth enough that we can go to the next stage. All right, that's all I've got. It is already hot here, but I've got no choice but to work in the heat. Luckily I've got shade, so that makes it a little bit better. But anyway, like, subscribe, get the alert, get the thanks if you want to donate. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know jack. Bye.